Hello and welcome to The Downsized. My name is Laraine Durham and I'm here with my husband Christopher Durham. If you're new here, we're the channel where we talk about all things GLP-1 weight loss related. Today we're going to talk about some side effects of GLP-1 medications and are they worth the cost?
Exactly. So the real goal here is to walk you through some of our side effects, some of the things we've heard from you guys about side effects. And as Laraine said, is it worth it? There's always that trade-off, that value equation that says this medication's costing a lot of money, you're having a lot of side effects, hopefully you're losing weight, and is it all worth it? So we're going to walk through what side effects surprised us the most or didn't surprise us the most. How do we manage some of those things, constipation, nausea, appetite changes, and so forth. And hopefully we'll come away with a little bit of practical advice to help you really manage your adventure with GLP-1s.
Jojo's joining us.
Oh, hello, Jojo.
Come here, Jojo. Jojo.
So this is another in our series of Q&A conversations that Laraine and I are having that you guys have seemed to have liked. And here's Jojo, guest starring Jojo.
Guest starring our cat Jojo. Jojo always likes to be around us when we're outside. We're outside in our backyard. But before we get started, let's just remind everybody that we're not doctors. We're just people who have lost weight on GLP-1 medications. How much weight have you lost?
I've lost 81 pounds since September of last year.
That's quite a lot. And I have lost 50 pounds since September of last year. I am currently in maintenance. I've been hovering around the same couple pounds now for 3 or 4 months, trying to hang out there. That's another whole conversation, the maintenance conversation, but I do still occasionally get some side effects from the GLP-1 medications. So that's why we wanted to talk about that.
And you've been on compounded tirzepatide most of the time, right?
Yes, I have taken all my shots have been compounded tirzepatide except for one shot of Christopher's that I took of Zepbound when we were on vacation. So yeah.
And you didn't notice any difference between the two?
No, honestly, no. It just, other than the injection process, the effects seemed the same to me.
So I have taken compounded tirzepatide, Mounjaro, and Zepbound pretty much interchangeably over the last year. I haven't noticed any difference in side effects, in weight loss, really just in cost and availability. So honestly, if I could get it all at the same price, I'd be happy to use the pens. It is what it is. So that's our kind of look at where we've been on our journey. So talk to me about your side effects, particularly early on. When we first started taking this, what side effects surprised you the most?
I guess I was surprised at how full I got and how quickly I got full, and then to the point of where I felt nauseous. Eating the same amount of food I had eaten previously, I couldn't do that anymore, and it would make me very nauseous. So I found myself reaching for a lot of Tums, a lot of different things to relieve that feeling.
See, for me, it was, I had heard the phrase food noise before, but I don't know that I really understood it, such that within the first week or so, probably, I just wasn't thinking about food and didn't even realize I wasn't thinking about food. Mm-hmm. To a point where I had to force myself to eat.
Because I was never not thinking about food. I know that's a double negative, but yeah, I had not understood what food noise was. I just thought, and I didn't know other people had it, I just thought, me personally, I thought about food all the time. I thought about what I was going to eat next, and even when I was eating a meal, I'd be thinking about my next meal. So this was just how I've been thinking about food my whole life. I didn't know there was a term for that, or that it was caused by the disease of obesity.
So I think it's interesting because we see it a lot on Facebook groups talking about, particularly on the earliest doses when you're first starting out, it's struggling to get the protein in, struggling to eat the food because I don't think about it, or it makes you a little nauseous, or you're just full so quickly. There's a hawk that just flew up right here
on the porch. Jojo sees him. There's a lot of wildlife in our neighborhood.
Yeah, let's see.
See if you can see him. I don't know if you can see him over there.
It's crazy.
Yeah. What do you think, Jojo? Oh, there he goes. He just flew away. That's funny.
And I think the other thing that surprised me a lot was early on, although we had done quote unquote our research and we had looked at it, we certainly know a lot more than we do today than we did then.
We know more today than we did
then. We know more
then.
today than we did then.
Yeah.
To read the boards and all of the things, you would think everybody has every side effect.
Yeah, I guess because when you have side effects, you want to talk about them and you want to see if other people have them and what other people did about them. So the people who are not having side effects, and we've talked to quite a few people who said, yeah, no, I had no side effects. You don't really hear much from them because there's not much to talk about. Yeah, so I saw a lot of people who were talking about being nauseous, being fatigued, being constipated. And those were all my symptoms. I was thinking about taking a nap this afternoon, actually. But we just got home yesterday from going to Arizona this week. That time change was...
Yeah, it was brutal.
It's brutal.
So what dose are you on now?
I'm on 7.5. And actually, I'm not going to be taking my shot this week because I have a colonoscopy coming up. So the shot that I would normally take I've now gone to Sundays. On Sunday, I'm going to skip my Sunday shot and then skip another Sunday shot and then have a colonoscopy on Monday. So I'm going to see. I have not taken a shot now. We're recording this on a Friday. I took my last shot on a Sunday. I don't know. I don't feel like I want to eat everything inside. I actually went to my book club when we got home from the airport last night, and there's usually snacks and wine. And I had 2 glasses of wine and I had some snacks, but it wasn't like I wanted to eat all the snacks and drink all the wine, which I have done in the past.
So let's talk about some of particularly early on, the constipation, the nausea, the fatigue. What did you do to help manage those?
Yeah, so my main side effect has been constipation. And honestly, looking back, I think I've maybe always struggled with this. Always struggled with indigestion, bloating, gas, all that kind of thing. So this GLP-1 medication, tirzepatide, only exacerbated that problem. Yeah, I got really constipated. I was looking for something to help with that. And I found a lot of people talking about Mag07. It's on Amazon. You can find it on our downsized.org web store. It just helps, I guess it has magnesium. It just helps flush things out. My doctor suggested Miralax. I have not tried Miralax. I had a lot of luck with the Mag07. And I don't take Mag07 every day. I only take it if I have a problem. And other than that, I take sugar-free fiber gummies 2 a day, pretty much every day. I didn't take them when we traveled, and I probably should have. But yeah, that's how I manage that.
And so I've had a little bit of constipation, but typically my issue is the opposite of constipation. There have been a couple times where I've gone several days without, being able to relieve myself. But it's never been uncomfortable. I've never had to take Mag07 or Miralax or anything like that at all, really. I will maybe once a month or so have extreme diarrhea. It all wants to come out.
As it did yesterday.
Yes, it did.
Almost thought he was going to miss the plane there for a minute.
Yeah, we were at the conference, and just you're traveling, you're doing business things, and there was a lot of food with the conference because we're feeding a lot of people. I don't think I overate or anything, but just got to a point where I guess my body just said, no, this all needs to come out.
Yeah, at 9 o'clock yesterday morning, and when we were sitting in the airport. So I looked down, it says, my phone says flight is boarding in 8 minutes, and where is Christopher Durham? I hadn't seen him in a while. Finally, I'm like, our plane is boarding. I'm texting him. I'm like, we got to go. So came out of the bathroom, and then we started our way down the concourse to our gate, and we almost get to the gate, and he goes, I got to stop at the bathroom again. I said, I'll see you in Charlotte.
Yeah, it wasn't an option. And it's weird. It does it maybe once every month or two. And there's really, honestly, there's no way to manage it other than going to the bathroom. Because it doesn't last long enough that you take an anti-diarrheal or anything like that. It's got to come out.
Yeah.
It's just.
Yeah. I've never.
Now, I might weigh 3 or 4 pounds less after that.
Yeah. And travel always messes you up anyway in terms of going to the bathroom. At least it does for me. He did make the plane.
I did make the plane. I mean, I find if I
boarding.
eat a varied diet, so I can't do just all protein, and I know everybody's all about protein, we all are, but the protein, if I don't have some vegetables and things in there, it gets worse.
Yeah.
And I've got to drink enough water,
Yeah.
and not crazy amounts like this girl does, but enough water, a couple glasses a day.
Yeah.
Then I have issues. But other than that, early on, and occasionally I'll still get dry mouth. It's not so uncomfortable that I have to go to the doctor or I'm worried about it. And dry mouth isn't even really the right term for it because it's a little bit of metalliness. Because there's no amount of drinking water, and one of our viewers
takes that away. Yeah.
has sent me a couple of things to try. Yeah, it's not even so. It doesn't bother me so much that I need to go to the drugstore and buy something, but you definitely notice it. And then early on, the fatigue was.
The fatigue. Yeah. Yeah. I especially in the first month or maybe 2 months, and even sometimes now, really, even, or maybe I'm just tired in general because I don't sleep as well as I used to, but the fatigue would just be overwhelming. I'd take a shower in the morning and feel like I gotta lay down because that just was exhausting. And a lot of days, especially after shot day, I just want to sit in the chair and watch TV.
Well, and that's why we started doing our shots on Fridays.
On Friday,
right? So that you had a couple of days to recover.
Yeah.
So it's really about timing your shot to work best for your schedule. Ours, there's a couple of things going on why we do it on Fridays. First of all, we know we don't have to work Saturday or Sunday. We work from home, so it's not the end of the world for us either way. But if you need to take a nap, you can take a nap. It also gives us the ability to have the best suppression because we're most likely to have dinner with friends or do something out
on the weekend.
And we want to make sure we're managing that as best we can because you still got to live life, right?
Yeah, a lot of people talk about maybe not going to a party or not going to a social event because they don't want to be faced with the temptations or the food and I have been like that at points previously to GLP-1s, but now I'm just like, I don't want to miss things anymore. I don't want food to hold me back from things anymore, and I feel like it doesn't because we had this conference this past week and we did a buffet breakfast, buffet lunch for 100 people for the couple days, and we had a cocktail reception with some food and some past hors d'oeuvres, and I did not feel out of control. Did I eat things that I don't normally eat? Yes, I had a croissant at breakfast, which was pretty good. But I also had some eggs, and I had some vegetable soup, this wonderful Mexican.
Oh, pozole, it was delicious. Yeah.
I'd never had that before, and it was fantastic.
I don't think that would have been too terribly bad. I think it was mostly chicken broth and the corn. And
again, we're not going to call foods good or bad. Just I ate some different things that I don't usually eat every day. And some things were a little bit more, I call fun foods. So we did have desserts after lunch both days. Did you have any of the desserts? We had churros the first day.
I did have a churro.
Those were delicious.
Those were.
I had one, so they were filled. Like one of them was filled with chocolate, one of them was filled with a custard, I think one of them was filled with strawberry. Delicious. Anyway, I didn't feel bad about it. I didn't feel like I overdid it. I had one.
I think it's interesting because call it a side effect, call it whatever, I don't know, but the way this medication changes the way you think is a little mind-blowing because it definitely tones me down a little bit I'm not thinking about food, but I'm also not worried about food. It doesn't make me, I don't feel guilty even if I eat something. It's not, I don't know, it just takes the edge off the whole thing.
Yeah, I think when we were in the airport, so I didn't really pay a lot of attention to the flight schedules, and I didn't realize that our flight to Arizona was almost 5 hours.
Which was a long time.
It was a direct flight from Charlotte to Phoenix. And I was thinking, for some reason, I just had in my mind it was 2 or 3 hours, like a Chicago flight or a New York flight I didn't quite realize it was going to be just about flying to LA from Charlotte, which I've done a few times. And that's a long flight. So I didn't eat breakfast before we left for the airport. So I figured, we'll go. We have it's not US Air Club anymore. It's the American Airlines Club. We'll go on the American Airlines Club and I'll get some yogurt and that'll be fine. And then we ended up in a really long security line, which took forever. And I said, we're going to pop in and I would need a yogurt or something. So we popped in. I got like a yogurt and I think a little thing of oatmeal. Fine. I thought, that's fine. That'll last me till lunch.
5 hours later when we landed.
So we boarded it. I think our flight was at 9 or 10 or something. 5 hours later, I didn't think about I'd need lunch maybe on the plane. Jojo's rolling in the dirt. I just wasn't thinking about what I was going to have for lunch. Maybe at the opposite ends of the spectrum. And so then I was on the plane and I'm like, I'm hungry. And I look at my watch and I'm like, that's because my body thinks it's 2:00 in the afternoon and we haven't had lunch.
Oh, yeah.
So they were selling some cheese snack boxes on the airplane. I don't even know how much they were. I'm just like, take my credit card. But it had cheese and some crackers that weren't good and what else was in there? Grapes.
Talk to me about how the medication has impacted your sense of taste and your, perception of food.
I think it's not dulled it, but I don't know if things don't taste the same or now I'm just not as excited by the way they taste. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know that they taste different. It's just my feeling about the taste maybe is different. And I say this especially when it comes to wine, because big wine drinker, I love all types of wine. But then I found, especially when I first started, that if I drank a glass of wine, I felt like I was drinking poison. Like I didn't drinking it. I didn't want it. It just grossed me out. So I just stopped drinking for a while, especially those first 3 or 4 months, really. And that was interesting. I was at book club last night and I had a glass of wine and it was fine. I didn't feel sick, but I also didn't want to drink more than I should have, which sometimes I did in the past. So it's interesting how it's refocused my brain. I still like the things I like. I still love sweets and pastries and breads, but I don't feel like I have to eat them every chance I get or overeat them. I don't feel compelled or driven to do that like I feel I was in the past before GLP-1.
And see, for me, I was never a big alcohol drinker. I'll have a cocktail or something and that's fine, but if I could take it or leave it, it's not a big deal. A lot of times now I just leave it. I don't care. Sweets, particularly, we're more than a year into it now. The last few months, they have been overly sweet. Like to a point of kind of sickeningly sweet. Like it make me pucker a little bit. It's even like we had some Halloween candy and I've told this story, but the creamer that I've used for 10 years or something that is a zero sugar creamer anyway. It was just too sweet. I couldn't hardly use it at all. So it definitely has changed my perception of it. Now, have you found any foods that have been a problem digestively? I mean, is there anything that you've eaten that you went, oh, I shouldn't have done that? There's landscapers out.
I really can't think of any. Are there any that you think of like that?
No, but I know I shouldn't say. Early on, there was a couple. I had some fried food, a couple of like a chicken finger or something, and I was like, oh, yeah, that was a bad idea. So I stayed away from that for a little while. I don't really know if that was a bad idea or if it just happened to be my body reacting to the medication, because I've since eaten some of that stuff a little bit here and there, but it hasn't been an issue. So as we look at our approach to eating, you've been on diets your whole life.
Correct.
And those diets have dictated sometimes very extremely what you were eating. How has this changed
one
what you're eating?
One piece of toast, one hard-boiled egg, one small orange.
One whole head of cabbage.
Yeah, so being on the GLP-1 medication, I just was not eating a whole lot. So I was just not tracking what I ate. I had tracked what I ate for years with Weight Watchers. And I do believe that tracking your food, writing it down is good and has a place. If that's something that's new to you, if that's something you've never done before, that's a good way to keep track. For me personally, it was never about knowing the correct amount of food to eat. It was just about sticking to that correct amount. 3 ounces of chicken for me before was not enough. And then a cup of pasta with it was not enough. And then half a cup of green beans was not doing anything for me. And so then I would eat all that and then look for something else after as a snack. And I just don't do that anymore. I really don't snack between meals. I really just basically eat 3 meals a day. I try to get 30 grams of protein at each meal. So I eat a lot of Greek yogurt, I eat a lot of chicken, I eat a lot of eggs. What do we have for lunch today? I had a sandwich from Panera, where I used to freak out about the calorie count at some place like Panera. Now I just adjust the rest of the day. So I had a sandwich, a half a sandwich was maybe a little bit more calories than what I would eat normally at lunch, but I won't eat a snack. I won't eat till dinner time.
So at any point have the side effects been so intense, so extreme that you've thought about stopping the medication?
No. I mean, when you see that number on the scale go down consistently, pretty much for me every week it went down. There's pretty much nothing that could have stopped me from.
And when you say go down, about how much did you lose on average?
I lost 1.58 pounds per week on average when I was in the thick of my weight loss of the 50 pounds. And that's what Weight Watchers had always told me. I'd been going to Weight Watchers. I still go to Weight Watchers. I've been going since 1985. 1 to 2 pounds a week is average. That's a great weight loss.
But did Weight Watchers actually have any impact on your weight loss this time?
No, before I started the GLP-1s, I had started back on Weight Watchers for the millionth time. And I'd gone for about a month and I lost 10 pounds, which is what I tended to do every 6 months, year. I'd stop and restart.
Do you credit their program with any of the weight loss?
Oh, no. I mean, I know a lot about how to think about food. I know tricks for dealing with food, managing food, but I could never put those into practice because my personal food noise just always overcame whatever Weight Watchers was suggesting that I do.
So then just to circle back, did you ever consider stopping taking the medication because the side effects were so extreme?
No, I mean, my constipation was manageable with Mago 7, with fiber gummies, with over-the-counter remedies, really. The fatigue was a lot at first, but I don't, now a year into it, I'm not fatigued anymore. Do you get tired?
Every once in a while.
Yeah.
Sometimes the day of the dose for the next day I will, but honestly, I work out of our house, so I can take a nap if I want to. It's not the end of the world. You definitely want to manage to it. Yeah. No, they have never stopped. The side effects have never once have I thought, oh, I should stop doing this because these are so terrible.
And someone asked me recently, what about the long-term side effects? Mm-hmm. Are you concerned about the long-term side effects? And I guess they've heard phrases like gastroparesis or mm-hmm. I don't even know. That's not something that I think has affected me. I don't feel like that's a problem that I've had. If in this past year I would have had it by now. And then alternatively, what are the long-term side effects to obesity? I'd much rather have long-term side effects from GLP-1s of constipation, fatigue, nausea than diabetes or high blood pressure or high cholesterol or joint pain or all these other things that come from being obese.
So why do you think people say those things? Why do you think they point out the side effects to you?
I think it goes back to the whole thing of you're cheating when you're taking a weight loss medication, or they're trying to discount your progress or discount why they haven't. We were at my high school reunion, and one of my male classmates was asking me a lot of questions, and one of his questions was, what about the long-term side effects? And he's watched a few of our videos, and he might be watching now. Hello. But I think he was really curious. He really wanted to know, would this be right for him? I don't know. I think people have a lot of questions about it, and you hear some kind of horror stories from the extreme ends. Talk to
I think there's
hundreds, thousands of people, and I don't hear this.
I think there's probably 80-90% of these people that say things like that are just being passive aggressive and trying to shut you down and trying to discourage you from being successful and from doing it. I mean, it's, the one I get all the time is, aren't you worried about muscle loss? Sure, but you know what? Anytime you lose weight, you're going to lose muscle, and there's no real reason to believe these medications cause that to happen more. So do you want me to lose weight or not? Because you're going to be the first to ask me if I'm healthier. It's this whole passive aggressive, hey fatso, don't lose weight. I don't know. It's just bizarre to me. And have you been deeply concerned about muscle loss?
No. I do weigh myself on a scale that measures body fat and muscle somewhat. I know it's not 100% accurate.
I don't even know it's 50% accurate.
Well, I would hope that the weight part is accurate.
The weight we know. I mean, I've compared that to the doctor.
If I think the weight part is accurate, I have to look at the muscle part as being somewhat accurate. And I have lost muscle, losing these 50 pounds. I don't know in the past when I've lost weight how much muscle I've lost, because I've never had a way to measure it before. I think on any diet, and that's the whole problem with yo-yo dieting, is you lose 20 pounds really quick and maybe a third of it is muscle, and then you go off the yo-yo diet and you gain it back, but you gain it back as fat. Right. So now you're fatter and you don't have that muscle. Muscle burns more calories at rest than fat. You can eat more if you have more muscle, so you want to keep the muscle, and it's better for long-term health. And
as a side effect, is muscle loss enough to say don't take this medication?
No. Really, there was nothing probably you could have told me that would have stopped me from taking this medication other than maybe cost.
Right, which leads into, I mean, that's the elephant in the room, right? This stuff's expensive. So I've lost 80 plus pounds in a year. You've lost, what'd you say, 60 in a year? Mm-hmm. And there have been side effects, and some days it's easier than others. Some days it's hard. What's that cost value equation? Is it worth it?
Oh, yeah. Would I do it over again? You better believe I would.
And we have insurance, but it does not cover this. So we have paid either $550 for the branded medication for me for Zepbound, Mounjaro with the coupon, or we have paid for telehealth medicines that runs somewhere in the couple $100.
I think I paid at first $325 a month. Mm-hmm. Now it's $275 a month for compounded tirzepatide, plus a $79 a month membership fee to Mochi, and that covers the doctor telehealth consultations. It gets expensive because if it's just you and just one person in your family, it's manageable. If you have two people in your family, then it becomes a little bit more expensive. If you'd like other members of your family to possibly... Jojo's coming.
Hey, Joe.
She's like galloping over. If you have more, it just multiplies.
So this could run...
$1,000 a month, easy.
Yeah, and so if you can get it on your insurance and it's $25 a month or something, I would just do it. Just go.
If your insurance covers it, if you can get it for $25 to $100 a month, I would have no second thoughts about starting it immediately and staying on it.
No, but I've probably paid, I don't know, $5,000 to $6,000 for the year. for this medication. I've lost 80 plus pounds.
I'm afraid to add it up, honestly.
I think every dollar was worth it.
Yeah.
I feel so much better. My blood pressure is at a safe, healthy place. We can go on cruises and go ziplining. I can keep up with my kids. I can just, the health benefits for me have been well worth it.
How much would you pay to get to your goal weight and stay at your goal weight? How much would you pay? And how much have I paid over the years to different places like Weight Watchers and Physicians Weight Loss and Nutrisystem and Jenny Craig and blah, 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 on and on. I've paid thousands of dollars over the course of my lifetime. But now this works. This will be the last weight loss thing you will ever try.
And it'll be the healthiest one, honestly.
What is that worth to you to finally, after years of knocking yourself out, I'm not running half marathons anymore. I'm not doing 2 workouts a day anymore. Hurting my back, throwing down medicine balls in the gym anymore.
Because you're still working out. You're still doing this stuff.
Working out. I do a bar class that has a lot of Pilates and light weights. I do a cardio dance class. It's like jazzercise. I do a step aerobics class once a week. That's a traditional up and down on a box kind of thing. These aren't hard exercises. They're just getting movement in, getting some light weights in, getting some activity in. And for me, that's all I have to do. And I always thought I had to kill myself with exercise because that was the only way I ever saw any progress. I mean, I can remember being 175 pounds, which is the lowest weight prior to this I'd ever been. And I was doing
And how much are you now?
2 workouts a day. I'm under 145 now. I think today I was 143 point something.
How tall are you?
I used to be 5'5", but now I'm 5'4". I shrunk.
How old are you?
I'm 55. 55-year-old, mother of 3. So it's just, if you're even considering it, talk to your doctor. Make sure it's for you. And if your doctor says go, then absolutely go.
And for me, the side effects, I'll tell you the positive side effects. You think about food in a completely different way. Mm-hmm. It does not control your life anymore. You are not constantly thinking, planning, doing. You free up so much time for the rest of your life, your family. It has helped us not just theoretically know what to eat, but actually eat better. Because this isn't a diet, right? This is a medical treatment for the disease of obesity. So we're not eating some wacky packaged food. We're not eating balls of cabbage. We're eating fresh meats, fresh proteins, fresh vegetables on a daily basis, roasted, grilled, whatever, and building a habit that's sustainable.
Yeah, and honestly, I've worked some things back into my diet that I always thought were off limits before. Or as different diets came and went, different attitudes came and went. I'm not afraid to have a piece of toast in the morning if I want a piece of toast. Mm-hmm. That's fine. I want a Starbucks coffee drink. I'll get a nice coffee. That's something I'd always drink black coffee or, something like that. I don't have to be so rigid when it comes to categorizing foods as foods I can eat and foods I can't eat. I can eat any food. I can eat all foods. I can eat a sandwich for lunch if I want, or I can eat scrambled eggs for lunch if I want. It's just, I don't want to eat the same thing every day. I want to be able to eat everything in moderation, and this medicine really helps me do that.
So it's the positive side effect. The positive side effect is it's helping us learn to eat in a nutritious, healthy way that's sustainable for the rest of our lives.
I think I always ate in a nutritious, healthy way. I just ate too much.
I don't know that you did, honestly. I think you like to tell yourself that, but I think you theoretically knew how to do it, and what you actually did was not the same thing.
Well, you're cooking the dinner every night,
Me too. I think that's it.
I think
And I think it was the snacking that got you.
I was a big
And I wasn't
snacker.
cooking that.
I was a big snacker. Like, I would plan my 3 snacks a day. Like, I'd have a morning snack, an afternoon snack, and an after dinner snack.
Throw in 2 glasses of wine, and all of a sudden you got 1,000 calories.
All of a sudden, that's 1,000 extra calories that nobody needed. But I just always felt hungry all the time, and I felt like I needed those snacks. And they were usually maybe carb-heavy things like granola bars or protein bar or something like that, where I try not to even... Yeah, I do love a protein bar. I do love a protein powder. I think they're a great way to get extra protein in, but I don't rely on those as my main sources of protein. For me, they're a supplement. They're not what I eat every day.
And I don't do protein bars.
He doesn't do protein bars.
Only real food, thank you. As we look at all of this, we think it's worth the cost, right? It's been worth it for us, absolutely. Have there been side effects, both positive and negative? Yes, there have. The other positive thing I would say is this kind of side effect on our life is, honestly, we're spending less money on food, a lot. We eat 1,000 less calories a day in a lot of cases. That just translates into money. It does. Does it make up for the $500 a month? Probably not, but it helps.
I think we have been eating out less just because we want to save money for the medications, number one. And when we do go out to eat, the portions are just so big for us now. We'll bring home food and we'll eat it the next day for lunch or maybe another meal. But going out to eat isn't the same thrill, I guess, it's not like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
Like, we used to just go out to eat, like, I think for entertainment, just for, let's see what's good to eat over here today. Where now we don't do that. I think we're cooking more at home. Yeah. I think we're just...
And honestly, if you are having side effects, cooking fresh food at home is one of those ways you can better manage those side effects. Because if you are constipated, hey, you know what? Make something with more fiber. Real food fiber will help you. I promise. Yeah, there's all the other things, but actual fiber in food is a good thing. So to close all this out, so to wrap it up, if you could give 2 pieces of advice about managing your side effects, what would those be?
I keep track of what my side effects are every week. Sometimes it's going up in dosage might cause a different side effect. Sometimes a different injection site for some people causes a different side effect. Keep track of them. Maybe have some remedies on hand before you start if you think you might have a problem. You can go to your local drugstore, CVS, Walgreens, and pick up constipation remedies. I also recommend a multivitamin. I think it's just a good general practice. Might help with some fatigue issues. I like electrolytes. Also think it helps with some fatigue issues. That would be my...
And so for me, I would say, particularly if you haven't started yet, don't get lost in the Facebook groups of everybody complaining about side effects. Is it possible you have them? Yes, it is possible. If you look at the Surmount research on tirzepatide, between 20 and 30% of people experienced any one given side effect. So the other 70 did not. You may or may not have side effects. You will not know until you start these medications. Proactively manage them. So if you're constipated after a couple days, go to Walmart, go on Amazon, whatever. You can. Those are things you can solve. Don't let the fear of side effects stop you from doing this.
I think a lot of people...
The other thing I would tell you is a lot of people on the boards talk about, I'm going up to 5 or I'm going up to 7.5 or I'm going up to 10 or whatever, and I'm worried there'll be more side effects. This isn't just an intriguing medication, and you going up does not necessarily mean you will have more side effects. You can have different side effects on the same dose every week. You take it, you can have different side effects when it goes up and down. You just have to be careful and manage things as you go. Don't be afraid of changing doses, though. Your body adjusts to it. So your body may react exactly the same way to 5 as it did to 2.5. You just don't know.
Well, everybody's different. So what happens to your friend on this medication
may not have anything to do with you.
Probably won't happen to you. So that's why I like to keep a log. And then that way also you can share that with your doctor. If doctors can prescribe things for nausea, can prescribe things for constipation if it gets to a point. So
And that's the biggest thing I would say there, though, is, and we use a telehealth provider and we have local doctors, is make sure your local doctor is looped in on this, because they will know your history. They can write something quickly. They can take care of you in a way that, no offense to telehealth doctors, that's just not really what they do. Right? They can't run blood work tomorrow if they need to. But your local guy, your local lady, absolutely can. Mm-hmm. You want to have the best health care you can have. And then you want to proactively talk to them and make sure they're involved. And honestly, we get this all the time too. If your doctor's not supportive of it, find another doctor. It's work, but you need a good doctor.
My local doctor was not supportive, and I've since switched doctors, and I have a Mochi doctor, and now when I go for my yearly checkup in person, I did mention to my doctor, and I showed her my chart, told her all about it. She didn't say a word. She just, okay, not a word. That's fine. I just wanted to make her aware. You might get a reaction like that, or you might get an extreme one way or the other.
And the other thing is, everybody shares about this at whatever level they're comfortable with. These are serious medications. I would make sure there's somebody in your life that knows you're doing this, because if you do have issues, you need somebody to have that information and not just show up at an emergency room. It's very rare that it happens, but share with somebody that you're comfortable with, because it would be bad.
Yeah, that is a good point. Make sure, if your local doctor is not supportive, make sure your spouse knows, or your
best friend, or
knows. Somebody. A lot of people want to just hide it from everyone, from their mom, from their spouse. I've seen Facebook threads with people talking about, how do I hide this medication from my spouse? If you're hiding this medication from your spouse, maybe there's other things you need to work on before you get to this medication. But I'm not here to judge. I'm just saying,
strictly as a health thing.
As a health precaution, let someone in your life know.
There is a small percentage of people who have serious issues, and you need somebody to have the information that the doctors would need to help take care of you. Just, even if it's a safety alert band that says, hey, whatever, I don't know, but make sure people know. So at the end of the day, would you stop doing this because of side effects?
No.
So we are both very much on this page of, this has been great for our lives, for our family, for our health, and we will continue to take these medications as long as they're available, because we think we need it to manage our disease. You all have to do what's right for you. And again, we're not doctors, not a doctor, also not pharmacists or attorneys, as it turns out with the latest of videos. But we're here to have a conversation with you and talk. We love doing these chats, so if there's any topics you'd like us to talk about, let us know. We'll be happy to see what we can do. Remember, though, we're not doctors, so there's only so deep we can go in on some of those things. And that's it for us today. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe. Make sure to catch us on our lives each week and watch for those to be announced.
Laraine Durham.
And I'm Christopher Durham.
We're the Downsized. Like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye.